it's over.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve.
Hey, we're live streaming today. Don't forget that. It's linked in the episode description here on our audio side. Of course, on our YouTube channel, we're going live 5:15 trade deadline talk, reaction, live interaction with you guys. A whole bunch of fun coming, regardless of what's going to happen, which we're going to talk about here in a second. We have a preview, of course, for Game 2 against the Tampa Bay Rays. We also need to talk about the Jeimer Candelario trade, some of the fallout from it, some of the trades after yesterday in consideration of the Yankees, how that might change the market. We're going to talk about market strategy now moving forward. First, Stacey, I think this is the first time we've said it. I'm like 99.9% sure.
Yeah.
Because we've been very reluctant to give up on this team.
Yeah.
And while still mathematically possible, the Yankees just have not come out of the All-Star break in any semblance of what they were supposed to, or even remotely close to what they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's time. I think it's time to admit that this team is not built for a playoff run.
Nope. It's not.
Right? Like a run specifically.
Like, yeah.
Can they still catch fire? Yeah, they could.
Sure.
They totally could. They don't have the offensive depth that we anticipated.
Right. Like they
Not that
could
we thought
they
that
could make it, but they're not going anywhere once they make it. Like, you know, if it were a wild card situation where it were one game, they'd be shut down in that one game. Like, you could see that happening. Oh, God. And it's just annoying to think that that's what the organization is aiming for right now, because if they wanted to actually do something to help this team, moves would have been made already.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that later on in the show. There was a report from the New York Post and Joel Sherman, Stacey, that the Yankees are considering, this is before the game last night, selling, quote unquote, selling Sevy, Bader, Peralta, IKF all on the table, which I think some of those guys could garner something back. Again, we're going to talk strategy a little bit later, but just your reaction to that bit of news.
What would they be getting for Severino, honestly? Like,
Yeah,
what could they?
one.
What? Who? I mean, would another team think maybe we can fix him? But I mean, it feels like a big fix. He is just lost. I felt bad for him in his post game, and we've said this a couple times after a few of his starts. But I felt really bad for him in his post game the other night, because he has no idea what's going on. Like, it's inexplicable how bad he is right now. I feel like you could probably get something back for Bader, Peralta, and IKF more than you could for Sevy. Maybe if you package Sevy with someone else, but I don't understand. I just can't imagine someone wanting him right now. He's just so bad.
It's not like, wow, Wandy's so worth getting this high leverage reliever. We'll take on the salary and we'll take it on. Like, that doesn't make much sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, not that, I mean, Wandy's been good this year. It's just like, it's not, you know, it's not the best closer, and it's not Hader, you know, it's not like
right.
Josh Hader here that we're talking about. I mean, after last night's game, I mean, there's a lot to talk about that game. Just what in the world happened? A 5-1 loss to the Rays. And look, you're going up against Tyler Glasnow, and boy, his slider was on point last night. I mean, he was very Tyler Glasnow last night.
And he needed a few starts to get to that point, and he's worked his way up to being Tyler Glasnow again, because he missed those first almost 2 months of the season. And yeah, I mean, you know, people keep joking about how bad the Yankees are and how they keep getting shut out. You know, This is the 500th time this season that the Yankees have only scored 2 or fewer runs against a starter, or a starter has gone 7 innings and only given up 2 runs. But at least in this case, it was Tyler Glasnow and not some unknown dude with a 7 ERA.
Sure.
I'm trying to look at the bright side of things.
Yeah, that's a bright side. Yikes. Jhony Brito, Stace, gets called up. Germán gets scratched. Brito goes 4 innings, 6 hits, a bunch of homers, 5 earned, 4 Ks. He gives a 2-run shot in the first to Brandon Lau. That was the sinker up in the zone. That was like, 95, 96, and it just missed. Curve ball left hanging up in the zone to Wander Franco in the third. That was a solo shot. And then, I mean, it was like almost identical pitches to Isaac Paredes and Josh Lowe, or Lau, middle sinkers, like just not flat, but like dropped exactly like. I
think it's Josh Lowe and Brandon Lau, right? I think one's Lau, one's Lowe. And one's brothers with another Lowe on Texas. It's so confusing. There are too many guys with the same kinds of names on these teams.
I don't know. I go to Home Depot, so I don't really know. You're welcome. Okay, we got an elephant here. Domingo Germán. What happened there? What happened there? That feels like such a strange misstep that he gets scratched yet pitches in the game in relief. I truly don't understand what happened there.
It's so embarrassing. It's embarrassing what this team is doing right now. Why? You scratched him. Why would you bring him in? I mean, I know you don't want to ruin the bullpen for the rest of the series, but like you said, he was scratched. He can't make the start. He has something in his armpit. You could have come out just before the game and said, oh, by the way, the doctor cleared him, so we're going to use him, which still would have been like, what? But it would have made more sense instead of doing it without letting anyone know.
Yeah, like for like a last minute situation, it's like, yo, Brito's already warming up. Like, we'll just let him go, and then like that would make sense. Yeah. But even still, because you send Marinaccio down to make the space for Brito, so Marinaccio has to be down for 10 days now because he got options, so he can't get called back in 10 days. And I get it, he pitched through like 30 something pitches the other day, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't available for today, probably for Monday or probably Tuesday, but that's 2 of 10 days. But so. Okay, let's just go to what Greg Joyce said, that Boone said after the game. Greg Joyce, beat writer, said, Germán got cleared by the team doctor after he saw him in the 5 o'clock hour, threw off the mound briefly around 6, and was deemed available out of the bullpen. So, yes, Boone's media availability is before that, so I get that aspect of it. I mean,
could PR have said something? Like, could they have said something over the loudspeaker
they could always say something.
In the press box or something? Like, what? I don't know how that works. I've never been in a press box, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they make announcements like that. That's a weird one. But I mean, the whole situation's weird. Like, why? If he was not feeling good and couldn't play catch on Sunday, why didn't he see a doctor before then?
Right. And where was he? Was he throwing the bullpen out in the bullpen, or was he under the stands in the bullpen? Because I don't understand how people didn't see him in the bullpen. Wouldn't someone have seen? Like,
I don't get any of it.
Yeah, it's really.
I don't get any of it. Yeah, and then he threw off the mound briefly around 6 o'clock, which I guess Brito's probably already going through the motions at that point.
Yeah.
But what the more the point of it here is now your rotation's weird.
Right.
What happens to your rotation now? Because you can't. Because someone's gonna have to pitch on short rest now. Right, because either if you're going to take the Sevy spot, which is the next, would be the make the most sense because Sevy pitched on Sunday.
Yeah.
So someone's going to go short rest, and they pitched almost the exact same amount of time. Like Germán looked good. He went 5 scoreless, and he looked good. But Brito went 4. Are you going to option Brito back for Vasquez maybe and get that back in line? Like, now it's just a mess. Yeah,
just in time for the 2 more games against the Rays and 4 against Houston. It's perfect timing.
Hey, the bullpen's rested, I guess. The bullpen's rested.
Cool. But it does matter, but it really doesn't, because if the offense isn't doing anything, it's like, great, the bullpen's doing great, but
hey,
if the Yankees give up 2 runs, they're not going to score more than 2 runs.
Jake Bauers, solo shot, hanging curveball on Glasnow on an 0-2 count, no less. Hey.
I said it on Twitter. There's the lone run for the night.
Yeah. I don't know, Stace. I don't know. It was a strange day.
Yeah.
It was a strange day, from a couple of moves in around baseball, and then to go to the Joel Sherman report, now go to Germán scratched, Brito's up, Brito's starting, Germán's coming in. Like, it's just I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss.
I've been watching this team for 40 years. Like, knowingly watching them. I watched them when I was little, but don't really remember much. I've never, even in the worst years, I don't remember anything this weird. It's just really strange.
It's odd. It's odd.
Maybe Domingo Germán having to run across the George Washington Bridge because there was too much traffic and he was going to miss his start. He literally ran across the bridge and someone drove him to Yankee Stadium from Washington Heights. That may have been the weirder thing out of the last 40 something years, but this was pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah. Hey, don't forget, we're live streaming today. So if you're watching this the day it comes out, which is Tuesday, August 1st, the deadline, we are live streaming at the deadline, 5:15 Eastern. Remember, the deadline got pushed back because it makes a whole bunch of sense and it doesn't ruin everybody's day. But we are live streaming at 5:15 Eastern. I'm going to sing that to the cows come home, Stace. We'll be live streaming on our YouTube channel. Again, if you're our audio listeners, check out the episode description. And of course, just hit subscribe if you're new around here on YouTube. You can also hit a reminder on that link to that. It's already made. It's already scheduled. You'll see it. We're going to do that later today here, 5:15 Eastern. Coming up still on this episode, on this show, we're going to talk about the Candelario trade and some of the fallout and where that may leave the Yankees here as potential sellers.
Here at Locked On Yankees, we think buying baseball tickets shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. Steve's used Game Time for tickets this season a lot, and it's been extremely simple. They take all the work out of buying tickets, so all you do is tap a few times and you're in. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to just the moments before first pitch, so you can literally walk up to the stadium and go in. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for other events too, like football, basketball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With their lowest price guarantee and even event cancellation protection, Game Time is the best place to buy tickets in just a matter of seconds. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Back now on today's Locked On Yankees. Hey, don't forget, Yankees, Rays, Game 2. If you just can't bear to watch it, if you have to close your eyes as you watch it, you can at least throw John and Susan on Sirius XM. So you download the Sirius XM app today for free. You can get a free trial basically anywhere. Hey, also, don't forget, coming up later today, 5:15 Eastern on YouTube, live stream, Stacey, me, talking all trades, everything, not just Yankee stuff. We'll be answering your questions and just reacting to everything as it comes through. Of course, we'll hang out a little bit past the deadline. You guys know how trades kind of come out after the fact. So we'll be on for about an hour or so. So come hang out with us on YouTube. Should be a whole bunch of fun. You guys can drop questions and stuff like that. Stacey, okay. So there were a handful of trades on Monday, a day before the deadline. The one that made the most sense to me was the Jeimer Candelario trade, the third baseman going from the Nationals to the Cubs. Look, Candelario isn't, this massive impact maker. The Cubs obviously have decided to go in, which I think is a good decision if you're the Cubs. They end up sending DJ Hers and Kevin Made, a starter and a shortstop. So the weird part of this, Stacey, there was a report on The Athletic that came out after the deal. There was a grades thing. I think it was Brittany Giroli, if I remember correctly, that made this article saying that, quote, the Yankees, despite persistent rumors, were never serious suitors. Now, given light of the Joel Sherman report that the Yankees are at least entertaining the thought of selling what assets they have, that makes sense, right? And that,
right.
Because they could have matched that.
Yeah.
They could have matched that.
Yeah. But, Josh Donaldson was taking batting practice today for some reason.
I mean,
that's
he's
another
60,
thing.
So it's really, he can't do much.
That's another odd thing that happened today. or Monday. It was a really weird July 31st was a very strange day in Yankee land, because when I saw that tweet, I was like, are they thinking that they're going to, but they can't activate him because he's on the 60,
No, they can't.
right? No,
Yeah,
not until September. So what, I don't understand what the point is. Were they putting him on display like, hey, maybe someone else can take him? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. It's very weird.
Of course, the Mets shipped Mark Canha to the Brewers for Justin Jarvis. That would have been a fairly simple swap too for the Yankees. They could have made that move had they wanted to. They could have matched that one. AJ Pollock and Mark Mathias to the Giants from the Mariners. The Mariners, I wouldn't say like 100% out, but like they're not super believing in this team, which makes sense. They've had a down year.
Well, they also traded their closer. So
again, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's
that's
like second time in 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of them being like, all right, we're going to have to start this over again. And then, the Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron going from the Rockies to your team. Is that where they went?
Yes.
Randall Grichuk
homered on Monday night.
Yeah. Grichuk was linked with the Yankees, or like a possibility where people were like, oh, he could work as a left fielder sort of thing. So a lot of these people that were mentioned in the same breath as the Yankees, gone off the board.
Yeah. I don't think, and so here's something we've said to each other, but we haven't really said on the show. It's a weak market this year. Let's be real. Let's be real. It is. Once Bellinger got pulled and once Giolito got traded, it was like, all right, what's scraps, but like what's left?
Yeah.
What's left, right? Yeah. Those were the two big ones. Once they pulled Bellinger, that meant Stroman's gone, Giolito traded early. Yeah. Moustakas was shipped off a long time ago. By the time we got to the deadline this year is pretty weak. So weirdly enough, Stacey, this is kind of what I wanted to get to. If the Yankees were thinking, this year anyway, they are kind of weirdly positioned to be, I'm not going to say like, the card counters here, but may have some of the best assets now. Not that they have great assets right now to sell, but you think about who potentially could go. I think Wandy Peralta is legit for someone who's looking for a seventh inning guy.
Yeah.
IKF if you're looking for bench help.
Yeah, and now he plays a whole bunch of positions that he didn't play before, and he has more experience in those positions. So another team could definitely use him for at least 4 positions at this time. And he's a reliever also. So,
Yep, mop-up duty if you need it. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Sevy already, but I mean, Bader could be something. I think if the Yankees do just, let me say this. I think they should just do it.
They should, but they won't. I don't think they will.
I think they need to get to the point here where you're not, because calling them sellers feels weird, and not just for the Yankees stuff, but just because there's not a ton of great stuff to sell. But I think what kind of my mentality here is you need to think of the Yankees as buying prospects. Not necessarily selling guys. I think you ship off a Bader and you go, all right, we'll eat X amount of mil for it, but that means we take, like, you sweeten the pot here with these players that are like, again, I think Peralta's probably the best thing here that you could sell. What you do with that though is we will pay this much of that contract, but because we're paying that much of the contract, we need this. Right. Yeah. I think that's the mentality the Yankees need to go out here with the deadline.
Yeah. I don't think they will. The problem is, as much as I keep joking about how they should just blow everything up, because I've been doing that a lot, they can't. You can't blow everything up, because when a team blows everything up, it takes a little while to rebuild. You can't take a little while to do a full rebuild when you have Aaron Judge signed for 9 years and Garrett Cole on his. You can't waste those guys. And the Yankees know that. And it's just so frustrating that they probably should have done some sort of a rebuild a few years ago, like a total, but they'll never do it because they're the Yankees. But you see other teams do complete rebuilds, and when they come back, they win. You have Houston, You have Boston. Boston does it all the time. Boston always feels like they do really badly one year, and then the next year, hey, miraculously, they win the World Series. Yankees can't and won't do that. So yeah, they'll sell possibly, but it's not really like how another team would sell.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you point to the Red Sox there, Steve. I think that's really interesting that you do that, because I think that does prove, and you've seen it with some other teams, that you don't have to, like you said, blow it all up. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, we've kind of gotten to the point, like the Cubs and Astros, like of the early 2010s, like made us believe that that was the only way to rebuild, right?
Yeah, you tank for like 5 years, build up all those picks, and then build your farm system. Yeah.
That's the word, tank. Like, rebuild does not equal tank. Right. You don't. Those aren't synonymous. Like, they sometimes go hand in hand, but they don't always have to. Right. So I think the Yankees could, with some savvy movement, we've seen other teams do it, figure out a way to go, all right, hey, cut our losses this year. It's all right. Look, you can't win every year. It's not physically possible. That's how baseball is. That's how sports is. But you can be smart about how you move forward in this situation. Like, saving face doesn't do anything for anybody, right? Doesn't do anything, doesn't help anybody. So it's okay to admit you're wrong. It's okay to admit your mistakes. And I think the Yankees need to do that.
The Mets did. Why can't the Yankees do it?
And just realistically retool, not rebuild, retool.
Right. Reboot, retool, not a full rebuild, but do something a little more than what they're doing.
Yeah, like, than treading water.
They're almost like fixing leaks in a wall, but not using, like, they're using like bubble gum instead of what you should use to fix a leak in the wall. But I feel like this can't happen with Brian Cashman there, and we can get into that another time. But I feel like there needs to be a clean sweep up top in order for the Yankees to fix things, because until they do that, it's not happening.
Well, if the Yankees keep playing like they did last night, there may be a clean sweep. We're going to step aside. We have a preview of Game 2 against the Tampa Bay Rays when we come back. Back now on Locked On Yankees. Don't forget the Rays series, Game 2 tonight on SiriusXM. Download it now. SiriusXM app is available. It's going to be Zach Eflin versus Carlos Rodón on the mound. Rodon's coming off a nice one.
Yep.
Coming off a nice one. Zach Eflin's good, been good, still good.
Yeah.
Not Glasnow good, but good.
Mm-hmm.
The Rays are stronger, even though they've had a real tough stretch since the break.
No one's had a tougher stretch than the Yankees offensively. I mean, they're doing worse than the A's and the Royals at this point offensively. It's like,
well, look at you bringing up offense. I feel like we're really on cue today, Stace. I wanted to talk about lineup changes because, I mean, I forget who it was. Some beat writers sent something out yesterday that, like, you can't keep running Rizzo out there in the 3 spot, which, like,
no.
Can you argue against that? Not really. You can't argue against that.
We said it on yesterday's show. He's the worst hitter in baseball since early May. The worst. There's no one worse than him. And you're putting him at 3. And then you're putting Stanton, who's below 200, at the 4. You have to break those two up in some way. You can't have them back to back.
Yeah.
Not with the way they're not doing things right now.
Yeah. I'm pulling up last night's starting lineup. Glaber, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, DJ, Bowers, Bader, Volpe, Rortvedt. What changes? I mean, look, you're playing with dynamites here, so like I don't know if there's like this incredible secret key to unlock the success of this lineup, but there are things I think you can do. I mean, the way Glaber's swinging right now, yes, I know he went 0 for last night, but like, do you put him in the 3? And
I was thinking DJ 1,
Volpe up there.
I was thinking DJ 1, Judge 2, Glaber 3. Ugh.
That's the thing. You need Rizzo. Like, you need him, right? That's the problem here, is you have to have him.
Yeah, because then if you put Stanton 4, you have to put Rizzo 5. You can't put him 6, can you? Yeah, this is okay. You know what? I don't envy Aaron Boone having to try and put this. I'll admit it. I don't envy you, Mr. Boone, because trying to put these guys into an order that you think can spark something seems impossible with the way some of these guys are doing lately.
Yeah, it's so hard when everybody is not swinging well because it's
Yeah.
impossible. Like it doesn't matter which order you put them in. So
Yeah.
like I've said this year, like look, criticize Boone when you want, and that's fine. And I think there's times when it's warranted. But like when it comes to lineup or construction, I mean, 3 hits, who cares what order it comes in?
Right.
Like there's not much you can do in that regard. Because like then your bench options are like, look, again, no offense to Greg Allen, but like that's your bench option. If you're like, well, Bader's not swinging it, so I'm gonna put Greg Allen, and it's like, Greg Allen's like your odds aren't getting much better there. Like he's fast, and look, he's probably
but he needs
decent,
to get on base.
but he's got to yeah. So it's just you're trying to win an impossible game. You're trying to beat a puzzle. You're trying to solve a puzzle that doesn't have all the pieces.
Right.
So how are you supposed to do it? I mean, there can be smarter moves to be made in that being get Rizzo out of the 3 spot. Yes. Put Glaber there. That's your best chance. That's your best option right now. I think that the Yankees end up selling, and we're talking blow up here. I think you sell it and you do like a 40-man Florial, get him up there. Like just do that and see what you have. See what you have for 2024, right? Like if you get Chaparro up and you get Defoe up or whatever you end up doing here, if you end up selling an arm, see what Beater's got in the show, like let them do it and figure that kind of stuff out.
I just thought of something. Joe Torre infamously put A-Rod in the 6th spot in the playoffs in 2006, and people were like, oh. And it was a down year for A-Rod, but it wasn't as down as what Anthony Rizzo is doing this year. And now that I'm thinking about it, put him down further. I mean, keep Stanton at 4. I guess.
See, that's like, what do you do with Stanton? He looks so lost at the plate. There are nights where he looks okay. He has a couple good swings, but man, he's off balance. He's still not adjusting to off-speed stuff.
Like does he need glasses? Like, is this a wild thing?
You know what?
Situation?
What? Look, I don't think that's too far off base.
It feels like it.
I just have a weird anecdote for that. I was covering baseball a couple of years ago, and there was a guy on the team who is now, I believe, in the Cardinals system, got drafted by the Cardinals, and is a good hitter. He was like Florida State League hitter of the week a couple of weeks ago, whatever. But he had like a real down, I think it was his junior year. And I'm like, man, what's going on with this kid? He couldn't get his contacts. Literally, his contacts, like they weren't making them anymore or whatever. Like he couldn't get the ones that he needed. I was like, man, this kid's batting like 190. Like he was like a 300 hitter last year. He was hitting bombs on right, smoking the baseball. What happened to this kid?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So look, I don't think that's what's going on with Sten, but you're not too far off base. That can happen. That can happen. There have been guys that have gotten like LASIK, right? Like get LASIK and like, oh, I can see again. This is great. There's not 3 baseballs coming at me anymore. So this episode brought to you by LASIK surgery.
Yeah, that's the situation. I will never stop laughing. Like, can we send like a secret note to the Yankees? Like, maybe you should examine Stanton's eyes because he's just looking,
or just everyone's.
Yeah, because they're so bad. Like not to bring this up, but I am. 2019, when Boone had that savages and my guys are savages in the box. Those guys were so much better at bats, and they're not anymore. Like some of their at bats are absolutely horrifically terrible. It's just. Oh, I miss the days of them grinding out at bats. It doesn't happen anymore.
We'll see. Game 2 tonight, 7:05. First pitch, Rodón, Eflin. Buckle up, folks, because right before that first pitch, deadline. And again, we're going to be live. We're We'll be hanging out with you. So it's going to act like a de facto pregame for you guys as well.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the Yankees and, of course, everything else that's going on in baseball if anything happens or if we have a dud of a deadline. That's coming up today. Again, 5:15. We'll start live on YouTube. You can drop your questions down below for Fan Mail Friday. You can join our subtext. All the info is in the episode description down below. And that's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. We will see you tomorrow at the deadline.